Hey team, this week I want to talk about tempo when lifting. About 90% of the movements I program have a prescribed tempo, and that's intentional. So first, let's talk about how to read the tempo, why it matters, and then finally I'll give you some examples. So how do we read tempos? If you see a tempo like 2-1-X1 for squats, here's what that means. The first number 2 is the eccentric, lowering phase of the squat for roughly 2 seconds. The second number, which is a 1 in this case, is a brief pause in the bottom. The X always means to stand up with as much force and intent as you can generate. Then the final number 1 is a short pause at the top to reset before starting your next ascent. So here's the important thing about it. The count doesn't have to be perfect. If it takes you 1.5 seconds or 2.5 seconds to lower, that's totally fine. As long as you're respecting the intent of the tempo, you're getting all the benefits. So why is tempo important? There are 3 big reasons I program tempos. First, tempo gives the movement purpose. Fast tempos are typically used for speed and power development. Slower tempos are better for hypertrophy control and building strength in positions. Tempo tells you how the rep should be performed, not just how many. Second, tempo helps keep you safe. A controlled eccentric removes ego lifting. We've all seen the gym fails or social media clips where people are bouncing weights, losing control, or irritating the joints because there's no intent on the way down. Tempo forces control. Third, tempo lets us compare progress week to week. If week 1 you're dive bombing into a squat, and then in week 2 you slow it down a little and add a pause, the same weight might feel much heavier. That doesn't mean you got any weaker. It means that you changed the stimulus. Tempo keeps progress honest and measurable. So now let's look at a few examples so you can see how different tempos are used. The first example is a hybrid or frog stance band rack pull. The movement doesn't really have a strict tempo. The goal here is speed and power. I'm using a lighter weight with accommodating resistance, standing up aggressively, and controlling the descent just enough to reset and go again. This is about intent, not time under tension. Then, in example 2 is a squat with a roughly 3-2-X1 tempo. Here I'm lowering for about 3 seconds, pausing for 2, standing up with intent, and resetting at the top. Even though this is only 4 reps, it still takes around 20 to 25 seconds to complete the set. That time under tension is great for building size, stability, and joint integrity. Another example here is a row with a 3-1-X1 tempo. The key difference here is the pause in the stretch position. I use tempos like this to build strength and mobility at the same time. Think of it as a loaded stretch. We're improving position without traditional static stretching. Then finally, example 4 is a fat grip bench press with a controlled descent. In this case, I probably won't ride a strict tempo. I might put something like controlled eccentric. This is common when we're working towards a 1 rep max. The goal is strength, but not at the expense of joint health. Controlled descent, immediate turnaround, and strong press. So, as you move through the training this week, pay attention to the tempo. You don't need to count perfectly, but you do need to respect the intent behind it. Tempo tells you why you're doing the movement a certain way, whether that's power, strength, size, control, or just longevity. Have a good week. What you just watched is an inside look at how I coach inside the Fit Parent Project. This is the same type of education I give my online clients so they understand why they're training a certain way, not just the exercises and sets and reps to do. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future breakdowns on strength training, pain-free lifting, and realistic fitness for busy parents. And if you've got any questions about tempo, training, or just anything you want covered next, drop them in the comments below. I read and respond to them all. And for daily tips, form breakdowns, and real-life training content, you can follow me on Instagram at Stephen Mathis Coaching. If you're a busy parent who wants to get strong, lose fat, and feel athletic again without long workouts or extreme diets, the Fit Parent Project is built exactly for you. I'll link more info below if you want to learn how it works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.